I'm embarrassed when I watch the tape of my testimony, and I feel it does not represent who I am.
She says she was embarrassed, but did Andrea Sneiderman lie again today? Vinny thinks so. He's over at the HLNTV.com evidence room.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, I'm joined by Don Geary. This is the man who prosecuted Hemi Newman and wanted to prosecute Andrea Sneiderman for murder before he left that prosecutor's office. And together, we're going to show you how Andrea Sneiderman today was lying through her tears. First lie involved the relationship with Hemi Newman. She said there was no physical romance. Oh, I believe there was.
There was no physical romance between Mr. Newman and me. No sex, no kissing, nothing.
She kind of was dancing for him. He pulled her back, groped her. They were groping each other, I know, because I kind of turned away.
Was each party doing the groping? That's what you described?
Yes.
No kissing, nothing. Other than putting my head on his shoulder to cry and holding his hand on one occasion to comfort him.
They laid on the bed and cuddled and did just about everything but have intercourse. They kissed and they fondled each other, and then she got up and went into the bathroom. She went into the bathroom to, quote, finish herself off.
Wow. Don, I got to ask you, was the relationship, did it go further than this? Like she says, she just put her head on his shoulder. How physical was their relationship?
Time and time again. They had hotel room after hotel room. Hemi never had to take trips with her, but he took many, and they always ended up in the same hotel room.
One room for two people. Now, she also said today in court under oath that she did nothing to obstruct justice.
Despite my state of mind following the murder, I did nothing to obstruct justice in any way.
Do you remember telling police when they asked you if anybody was trying to break up your marriage? No.
On November 19th, is that what we're talking about?
Yes, they asked you, is anybody trying to break up your marriage? And you said no.
Yes, that's what I said.
When asked on November 19th, 2010, if I knew anyone interested in breaking up my family, I said yes, and immediately gave Mr. Newman's name to the police.
You never told them on January 4th, I know who it is, it's Hemi Newman, did you?
That's correct.
You took them down a rabbit hole and tried to get them to look at all these other people, didn't you?
No, sir, I did not.
Why were you protecting the defendant?
I was not.
Why didn't you mention his name?
Have you seen what's happened to my life?
She said today that she mentioned the name right away, Don.
She can't keep her lies straight.
Unbelievable. So the obstruction of justice, how would you encapsulate what she did to impede this investigation?
She did anything she could to keep herself out of the limelight, not to mention Hemi, not to mention trips, not to mention anything that happened to keep her out of the view. Police didn't believe it was her at first, and she did everything she could to keep that fantasy going.
How about, did she destroy some text messages as well?
There were blocks of text messages that were just missing.
Not there?
Not there. And they were peculiar times where you would have expected, if she was involved, to see them, and that was the block that was missing.
All right, Ryan, I think we caught her in a couple of lies today.
All right, we'll see what the jury thinks. By the way, we've got Juror 57, Demetrius Fowler, back with us. Demetrius, you saw Andrea Sneiderman in that courtroom every single day. What do you think of her?
She was a very reserved woman from what we've seen. You know, she would somewhat smirk or smile at us, and, you know, we would kind of look at her and just kind of stare, but we didn't really see the true Andrea Sneiderman until the testimony of the Hemi Newman trial. That's when it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde.
So then you knew something was going on with her at that point?
Yes.
Okay. Now tell me about how you came to this decision. 9 of 13 guilty. Was it difficult? Was there one that you got hung up on in that jury room?
Yes. Actually, charge 3 and charge 8. Charge 8 was 11-1, and 11 saying guilty, 1 saying not guilty. And it was kind of hard to get that last person over to our side until the last few minutes. At count 3, we were split almost down the middle. It was 5 people saying guilty, 5 saying not guilty, and there were 2 others that were saying they were in question.
So it took a little bit of time to get there. Now, when you look at her, you hear her story, do you think that she was in any way involved in killing her husband?
As far as being involved, I would say no. But as far as having a romantic relationship, I would say absolutely. She did have a romantic relationship with Hemi Newman.
Okay, noted the involvement, but she had the relationship. That's why you found her guilty on that count.
Yes.
You and your fellow jurors.